The quantum drive hummed softly as the U.S. Endeavour glided through the darkness of deep space. Captain Olivia Martinez stood at the command center, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing their position relative to known space. The ship represented humanity's greatest achievement, the first vessel capable of true faster-than-light travel using revolutionary quantum mechanics that even its creators didn't fully understand. "Status report," Olivia called out, her voice steady despite the tension coursing through the bridge. This was their longest jump yet, pushing well beyond previously mapped space. "All systems nominal, Captain," responded Lieutenant Marcus Wong from his engineering station. "Quantum field maintains stability at 97%. We've exceeded our projected range by 12%. First Officer David Patel approached with a tablet in hand. Latest sensor data confirms we're well beyond any previously detected signals. We're in truly uncharted space now." Olivia nodded, suppressing a smile. The Endeavour's mission was simple: push the boundaries of human exploration and gather data on what lay beyond their solar system. After decades of theoretical work and failed attempts, humanity had finally cracked the code of FTL travel, though in a way that defied conventional physics. The peaceful moment shattered as warning indicators flared across multiple stations. "Multiple contacts," called out Lieutenant Regina Torres from Tactical. "Massive energy signatures at bearing 047. They just appeared out of nowhere." The main view screen shifted to show three enormous vessels materializing from what appeared to be tears in space itself. Each ship dwarfed the Endeavour, their hulls covered in geometric patterns that pulsed with internal energy. First contact had arrived with shocking suddenness. "Battle stations," Olivia ordered calmly. "But keep weapons powered down. Let's not start humanity's first alien encounter with hostilities." The crew responded with practiced efficiency as emergency force fields hummed to life. A transmission burst caught them all by surprise, somehow translated into comprehensible English despite its alien origin. "Unknown vessel, you have entered restricted Imperial space. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in immediate destruction." High Commander Krelda stood on the bridge of the Imperial warship Dominance, his scaled skin shifting colors in agitation as he studied the small vessel that had appeared in his patrol sector. It was tiny compared to Imperial ships, with an unfamiliar design that seemed almost primitive. "Scans complete, Commander," reported his science officer. "The vessel appears to use some form of drive technology we cannot identify. Energy readings are impossible." "Explain," Kreldas demanded, his tail twitching with irritation. "The power output exceeds anything possible for a ship that size, yet we detect no standard energy signatures. No gravitic drive, no quantum fold generators. It's as if they're using principles we've never encountered." Impossible indeed. The Zaldaxian Empire had ruled this sector of space for 10,000 years. Their technology was the pinnacle of achievement. No primitive new species could possibly. His thoughts were interrupted as the human vessel responded to their demands. "Imperial vessels, this is Captain Olivia Martinez of the Earth ship Endeavour. We are on a peaceful exploration mission and we're unaware of entering claimed space. We will not power down or submit to boarding, but we are happy to establish diplomatic contact." The sheer audacity of the response made Kreldas' scales ripple with anger. "Launch interceptors. Show these primitives the price of defiance." Dozens of fighter craft poured from the Imperial vessels, their energy weapons charging as they moved to surround the Earth ship. The Endeavour remained motionless, seemingly defenseless against the overwhelming force. "Multiple weapons locked on us," Torres reported on the Endeavour's bridge. "Fighters moving to surround us with standard containment pattern." Olivia allowed herself a small smile. "Activate the quantum shield." A subtle shimmer surrounded the ship as its revolutionary defensive system engaged, not a conventional energy barrier, but a field that could selectively phase matter between quantum states. The Imperial fighters opened fire, their energy beams striking the quantum shield. Instead of being absorbed or deflected, the attacks simply passed through the ship as if it wasn't there, their energy dispersing harmlessly into space. On the Dominance, Kreldas watched in disbelief as his fighters' attacks had no effect. "Impossible. Target them with the main battery. Full power." The massive Imperial warships brought their primary weapons to bear, filling space with devastating energy beams. The result was the same. The human vessel seemed to exist in a state that simply ignored their attacks. "I think we've made our point," Olivia said quietly. "Mr. Wong, show them what else we can do." The Endeavour's quantum drive engaged, but not for faster-than-light travel. Instead, it created localized fields around the Imperial fighters, temporarily shifting them slightly out of phase with normal space-time. Their weapons and engines went dead, leaving them drifting helplessly. By the first egg, Krell thus whispered as he watched his fighters disabled with casual ease. "What are they?" "Imperial vessels," Olivia transmitted. "We've demonstrated that conflict is pointless. Shall we discuss peaceful cooperation instead? We have much to learn from each other." As Krell thus stared at the small human ship that had just humbled the Empire's finest, he felt the foundations of his world shifting. The Empire had always assumed their technology represented the peak of possibility. But these humans had taken an entirely different path, developing capabilities that seemed to break the very laws of physics as the Empire understood them. "Send word to the Imperial capital," he ordered quietly. "The galaxy has changed." What he didn't say aloud was the thought that chilled him to his core. If this was what humans could achieve with a single small ship, what else were they capable of? The encounter that would reshape galactic civilization had begun. Humanity had arrived on the cosmic stage not with a whimper, but with an elegant demonstration that there were more things in heaven and earth than dreamed of in Imperial philosophy. Word of the Endeavor's capabilities spread through the Zaldaxian Empire like wildfire. In the gleaming towers of the Imperial capital on Zaldax Prime, the High Council gathered in emergency session. The chamber's ancient crystalline walls pulsed with agitation, reflecting the mood of its occupants. Supreme Overlord Vexthar, his iridescent scales shimmering with barely contained rage, watched the holographic replay of the encounter for the 100th time. The small human vessel effortlessly neutralizing Imperial weapons technology that had dominated the galaxy for millennia. "This changes everything," growled Council Elder Mirati, her ceremonial armor clinking as she leaned forward. "If one human ship can defeat 3 of our warships, what could their fleet do?" "We don't know that they have a fleet," countered War Minister Droll. "This could be their only vessel of this type." "A dangerous assumption," Vexthar interrupted. "Our long-range scans of their systems show rapid technological advancement. We must learn their secrets before they become a true threat." Meanwhile, aboard the Endeavor, Captain Martinez and her crew were making discoveries of their own. Lieutenant Torres had been analyzing the Imperial communications they'd intercepted, and her findings were troubling. "Captain, you need to see this," Torres called from her station. Olivia moved to examine the decoded transmissions. "They're not just an empire in name. They've subjugated dozens of species across this sector. Any civilization that develops space travel is given a choice: join the Empire or be destroyed." First Officer Patel frowned. "Classic colonialism on a galactic scale. And I bet those who join end up as second-class citizens." "Worse," Torres continued. "They're forced to hand over all their technological developments. The Empire maintains control by ensuring no one species can advance beyond their limitations." Olivia's expression hardened. "No wonder they're so rattled by us. We've developed completely outside their system of control." She turned to Lieutenant Wong. "Marcus, what's the status of their attempts to scan our quantum systems?" Wong managed a small grin. "They're still trying, but our phase variance technology makes it impossible. As far as their sensors are concerned, we might as well be a ghost." Their discussion was interrupted by a priority alert. "Multiple ships dropping out of FTL," Torres reported. "Different design from the Imperial vessels. They're being pursued by Imperial fighters." On the main screen, 3 sleek vessels emerged from hyperspace, their hulls bearing obvious battle damage. Behind them, a squadron of Imperial fighters opened fire with devastating energy weapons. "Life signs," Olivia demanded, reading approximately 200 aboard each vessel. "Energy signatures suggest civilian ships, not military. They're broadcasting a distress signal." Olivia didn't hesitate. "Move to intercept. Extend the quantum field to cover their ships." The Endeavor surged forward, its revolutionary drive system allowing it to cross the vast distance in moments. As the quantum field expanded to encompass the fleeing vessels, the Imperial weapons fire passed harmlessly through them. "We're being hailed by the lead ship," Torres announced. A new voice filled the bridge, speaking through the universal translator. "Human vessel, we thank you for your assistance. We are refugees of the Arcturian Federation, fleeing Imperial persecution. They discovered our attempts to develop our own FTL technology in secret. This is Captain Martinez. Your ships appear damaged. We can provide assistance." "Captain," the alien voice became urgent. You must understand, the Empire will never allow independent technological development. They're already mobilizing their fleet. Your world is in danger. In the Imperial capital, Vexthar received the report of the Endeavor's latest interference with mounting fury. They dare protect criminals against Imperial justice. He turned to War Minister Droll. Implement Operation Shattered Shield. If we cannot match their technology, we will overwhelm them with numbers. Across Imperial space, massive warships began moving with deadly purpose. The Empire had maintained its dominance through overwhelming force for 10,000 years. They would not allow these upstart humans to upset the established order. However, they had overlooked something crucial. As Imperial forces gathered, the Endeavor's quantum communications array, operating on principles the Empire couldn't detect, was already transmitting everything they'd learned back to Earth. In the Sol system, humanity's other ships were beginning to incorporate the Endeavor's revolutionary quantum technology. And they weren't the only ones preparing. The Arcturian refugees carried with them the hopes of dozens of species who had suffered under Imperial rule. The news that someone had finally stood up to the Empire, and succeeded, was spreading rapidly through hidden resistance networks. Aboard the Endeavor, Olivia studied the tactical display showing the movement of Imperial forces. They're not just coming after us, she observed. This is going to be a full-scale invasion of Earth. Should we return home? Patel asked. Help with the defense? Olivia shook her head. Earth's defenses are already being upgraded. We can do more good out here. She turned to address her crew. The Empire maintains control by keeping species isolated, dependent, and afraid. We're going to change that. It's time to show the galaxy that there's another way. Lieutenant Wong spoke up from his station. Captain, the Arcturians are offering to share their technical database with us. They've been collecting forbidden research from multiple species for years. And we'll share what we can with them in return, Olivia decided. The Empire's greatest fear is exactly what we're going to create, an alliance of truly independent species, each developing technology in their own way, working together as equals. As the Endeavor moved deeper into space with its refugee allies, the pieces were being set for a conflict that would reshape the galaxy. The Empire had started the game expecting to face a single troublesome species. Instead, they had unknowingly created the catalyst for their own transformation. The real question was, how many other species would find the courage to break free once they saw it was possible? As quantum communications carried the story of the Endeavor's defiance across the stars, that answer was already beginning to form. The hidden base on Proxima 7 thrummed with activity. Once an abandoned mining outpost, it had become the heart of an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from 12 different species worked alongside human engineers, sharing technologies and ideas that had been suppressed by the Empire for generations. Captain Martinez watched from an observation deck as an Arcturian scientist demonstrated their crystal-based computer systems to Lieutenant Wong. Nearby, human quantum physicists explained phase variance principles to wide-eyed Centaurian engineers, their tentacles waving in excitement. It's remarkable how quickly they're all learning from each other, First Officer Patel commented, joining her at the window. The Empire's divide-and-conquer strategy backfired. They forced everyone to develop different approaches to the same problems. And now those approaches are combining in ways they never expected, Olivia agreed. How's the integration of Arcturian crystals with our quantum systems progressing? Better than we hoped. Their data storage density is incredible, and when combined with our phase variance technology. He paused as his communicator chimed. Speaking of unexpected combinations, you'll want to see this. They made their way to the base's main laboratory, where Lieutenant Torres waited with a tall, ethereal figure. The Lysanthians' translucent skin seemed to shimmer with internal light, a characteristic of their species' natural bioelectric field. Captain, Torres greeted them. This is Chief Scientist Noaria. She's made a breakthrough with the stealth system. The Lysanthians' melodic voice filled their minds through her species' natural telepathy. Your quantum field technology reminded us of something we developed centuries ago, before the Empire forced us to abandon it. We called it the Veil of Dreams, a way to bend light and energy around our ships. A cloaking device? Olivia asked. More than that, Noaria projected. By combining it with your quantum principles, we can create a field that not only makes a ship invisible but also completely undetectable. No energy signature, no mass shadow, nothing. The implications were staggering. But before they could discuss it further, alarms blared throughout the base. Multiple Imperial signatures detected, came the alert. 3 heavy cruisers dropping out of FTL. In the Imperial flagship's command center, where Minister Droll smiled coldly. The tracking device performed perfectly. He reported to the holographic image of Supreme Overlord Vexthar. Our agent planted it on one of the refugee ships. We found their hidden base. Excellent. Vexthar's scaled face showed satisfaction. Capture their leadership and destroy everything else. We must learn how they're combining these technologies. The Imperial cruisers moved to surround the asteroid base, their weapons charging. But something was wrong. Their sensors showed the base's power signature suddenly fragmenting, splitting into dozens of ghost images across the asteroid field. Multiple targets, the Imperial sensor officer shouted in confusion. There, everywhere and nowhere. I can't get a lock. The Lysanthian stealth technology, enhanced by human quantum principles and Arcturian crystals, created a web of false signatures that made it impossible to determine the base's true location. As the Imperial ships hesitated, the real base was already evacuating through a series of predetermined escape routes. Aboard the Endeavour, Olivia coordinated the evacuation while trying to understand how they'd been found. Status report. All essential personnel and equipment transferred to secondary locations, Patel confirmed. But Captain, we found this in the Arcturian vessel's hull. He held up a tiny device, barely visible to the naked eye. Imperial tracker, Torres identified it. Advanced model. Must have been planted during their escape. Olivia's expression darkened. Which means the Empire now knows we're actively working with other species to develop new technology. They'll step up their plans for Earth. A transmission cut through their discussion, a broad-spectrum broadcast from the Imperial ships. Attention rebels and traitors, where Minister Droll's voice boomed. Your pitiful alliance cannot stand against the Empire. Even now, our main fleet approaches the human homeworld. Surrender, and perhaps some of you will be spared. He's bluffing, Torres said, checking her instruments. We'd have heard from Earth if. Her words died as quantum communication suddenly flooded in, delayed by interference from the Imperial ships. The tactical display lit up with hundreds of signals. The largest Imperial fleet ever assembled was indeed moving toward Sol System. They're not just going after Earth, Patel realized, studying the data. These other fleet movements, they're launching simultaneous attacks on every species that's helped us. They mean to crush everyone at once. In the chaos of the evacuation, Nuaria approached Olivia, her ethereal form pulsing with urgency. Captain, there is something else you must know. In combining our technologies, we've discovered a principle that could change everything. The Empire's entire FTL network relies on fixed quantum patterns. With our combined knowledge, we could disrupt those patterns. You mean we could shut down their ability to travel between systems? Olivia asked, immediately grasping the implications. Yes, but it would take time to implement, and we would need access to one of their main network nodes. Olivia looked at the tactical display, watching the Imperial fleets move inexorably toward their targets. They were about to face overwhelming force on multiple fronts. But sometimes, she reflected, the greatest opportunities came in moments of greatest danger. Send word to all our allies, she ordered. Tell them to prepare for immediate relocation to the secondary bases. And get me Earth Command. I have a proposal that's either going to save us all or get us all killed. Patel finished with a grim smile. Exactly. Olivia studied the display showing the Imperial fleet movements. They think they can overwhelm us with superior numbers, but they still don't understand what they're really dealing with. We're not just combining technologies, we're combining ways of thinking, and that's something their rigid hierarchy can never match. As the Endeavour prepared to implement their desperate plan, the Empire's massive fleet continued its advance, unaware that they were about to face something unprecedented in their 10,000 years of dominance. An alliance of species fighting not just for survival, but for the freedom to develop their own destiny among the stars. The Imperial capital world of Zaldax Prime sparkled like a jewel in space, its crystalline towers reaching toward the stars. In the highest spire of the Imperial Palace, Supreme Overlord Vexthar received the fleet deployment confirmations with satisfaction. 10,000 warships, the largest armada ever assembled, moved with unstoppable purpose toward their targets. The humans and their allies will learn the price of defiance, he declared to his assembled commanders. Our forces will arrive simultaneously at every rebel world. None will escape Imperial justice. Supreme One, a junior officer interrupted, his scales pale with anxiety. We've lost contact with the Centauri sector fleet. What? Vexstar's tail lashed in irritation. How? Before anyone could respond, more reports flooded in. Fleet after fleet going silent. Not destroyed, simply vanishing from the Imperial navigation network. Across the galaxy, the Empire's carefully coordinated attack was dissolving into chaos. The source of this disruption was far from the capital, at a seemingly abandoned Imperial communications hub. The Endeavour hung in space near the massive station, its quantum field masking it from detection. Inside the station, Lieutenant Wong worked frantically alongside Arcturian and Lysanthian scientists, their combined expertise allowing them to penetrate the Empire's most secure systems. Their entire FTL network depends on quantum entanglement nodes, Wong explained via comm link to Captain Martinez. By introducing our phase variance principles combined with Lysanthian bioelectric fields. In simple terms, Lieutenant, Olivia interrupted. We're giving their network quantum hiccups, Captain. Their ships can't maintain stable FTL fields. They're being forced back to normal space, scattered across dozens of sectors. On the Endeavour's bridge, First Officer Patel studied the tactical displays. The Imperial fleet heading to Earth is still on course. They must be using a different navigation system. Of course they are, Olivia nodded. They wouldn't risk their main attack force on the standard network. Time for Phase 2. She opened a channel to all Allied ships. All vessels, implement Operation Sunburst. Across multiple sectors, ships of various species began powering up devices that combined human quantum technology with Arcturian crystals and Lysanthian bioelectric fields. The Empire had always prevented their subject species from developing advanced technology. Now, the combined innovations of those species were about to demonstrate exactly why. Near Earth, the massive Imperial fleet emerged from FTL, led by War Minister Droll aboard his flagship Inevitable Victory. The sight that greeted them was not what they expected. Instead of a desperate planetary defense, they found empty space. No ships in orbit, Droll's sensor officer reported. Minimal power readings from the planet. They appear defenseless. Droll's scales rippled with pleasure. They fled in terror. Begin planetary bombardment. Let's show them what happens to those who challenge the Empire. The Imperial fleet moved forward in perfect formation, weapons charging. That's when Operation Sunburst activated. Hundreds of quantum fields suddenly materialized throughout the Imperial formation. Not attacking, simply existing in the same space as the Imperial ships. The result was devastating. Ships found themselves partially phased out of normal space, their power systems fluctuating wildly as reality itself seemed to hiccup around them. What's happening? Droll demanded as his flagship systems began to fail. That's when the Earth ships appeared, seeming to materialize from nowhere. They had been there all along, hidden by the combined stealth technologies of 3 species. Leading them was the newest human vessel, the Defiant, commanded by Captain Victor Chun. Imperial vessels, Chin's voice carried across all frequencies. Your ships are caught in overlapping quantum fields. You can either power down and surrender, or watch your ships tear themselves apart at the quantum level. Your choice. On the Imperial flagship's bridge, Droll watched in horror as his mighty fleet began to break apart. Ships trapped in the quantum fields were experiencing localized reality failures. Hull plating aged centuries and seconds while other sections reverted to raw materials. Weapons fired dissipated harmlessly or backfired catastrophically. This is impossible, he whispered. We are the Empire. We have ruled the stars for 10,000 years. That time is over, Chen replied. Humanity and our allies offer you a choice. End this attack and help us build something new, or watch your empire crumble one quantum fluctuation at a time. Back at the communications hub, Olivia received the news of the Earth fleet's victory with relief. But there was no time to celebrate. Status of the Imperial capital? Their entire defense grid is offline, Wong reported. The quantum cascade we initiated is spreading through their whole network. Their technology is literally forgetting how to function. Captain, Torres called out. Multiple transmissions coming in from Imperial worlds. Their subject species are rising up, using our combined technologies to break Imperial control systems. Olivia opened a channel to Supreme Overlord Vexstar, who was watching his empire dissolve in real time. Your choices are simple. Order your forces to stand down and work with us to create a new galactic society based on cooperation and shared advancement, or watch everything you've built fall apart. In his crystal tower, Vexthar stared at the reports of spreading rebellion, disabled fleets, and failing technology. The Empire had maintained control by keeping species isolated and dependent. Now those same species had combined their knowledge in ways the Empire never imagined possible. "You'll destroy everything," he accused. "Thousands of years of order and stability." "No," Olivia countered. "We're offering the chance to build something better." The Empire forced everyone to develop along separate paths. Now imagine what we can achieve by bringing those paths together. As Vexthar considered his response, quantum ripples continued to spread through Imperial space. The age of suppression and control was ending. Whether the Empire chose to be part of what came next would determine if their civilization survived at all. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if 10,000 years of Imperial rule would end in destruction or transformation. Either way, the combined ingenuity of humanity and their newfound allies had changed the cosmic order forever. 1 year after the Battle of Earth, the gleaming towers of New Unity Station orbited the neutral world of Centaurus Prime. The massive structure represented something unprecedented in galactic history, a place where all species could freely share knowledge and technology. Captain Olivia Martinez stood in the station's grand conference chamber, now serving as Earth's diplomatic representative. Around her, beings from dozens of worlds mingled freely. Lysanthian energy forms drifted alongside solid-state Arcturians. Former Imperial citizens worked beside species they once dominated, all united in the pursuit of discovery. "Hard to believe how much has changed," First Officer Patel remarked, now captain of the Endeavour himself. "The Empire controlled everything for 10,000 years, and we broke that grip in less than one." "We didn't break it," Olivia corrected. "We transformed it." That was the key. She watched as former Supreme Overlord Vexthar, now serving as the Zaldaxian representative to the Galactic Council, engaged in animated discussion with a human quantum physicist. His scales had lost their militant sheen, taking on the more scholarly colors of his species' scientific cast. The Empire's surrender had not meant its destruction. Instead, faced with the combined technological might of the Alliance, they had chosen adaptation. The rigid hierarchy that stifled innovation was replaced by a cooperative framework that allowed all species to develop along their own paths while sharing discoveries. Speaking of transformation, Patel gestured toward a nearby display showing the latest breakthrough. Lieutenant Wong, working with scientists from 7 different species, had combined Lysanthian bioelectric principles with human quantum mechanics and Imperial power distribution technology. The result, the first practical matter replication system. Each species developed pieces of the puzzle, Wong was explaining to an audience of varied beings. The Empire's mistake was forcing everyone to advance in isolation. Together, we're achieving things that none of us could have managed alone. In orbit above the station, the Defiant maintained its patrol under Captain Chen's command. The ship now incorporated technologies from multiple species, its quantum drive enhanced by Arcturian crystals, its sensors augmented by Lysanthian bioelectric fields. It represented the new philosophy spreading across known space. Progress through cooperation rather than competition. Priority message from Earth Command, Lieutenant Torres announced on the Defiant's bridge. Long-range probes have detected signals from beyond the former Imperial border. There may be other civilizations out there, ones the Empire never contacted. More potential allies, Chen mused. Or perhaps more empires that need to learn the same lesson about cooperation. Back on the station, Olivia was interrupted by Naria, the Lysanthian scientist's ethereal form pulsing with excitement. "Captain, Ambassador Martinez, we've done it. The combined quantum bioelectric field can now be extended to planetary scale. We can protect entire worlds from any known weapon." "Defensive technology only," Olivia noted with approval. "That's a change from the old days of Imperial power." "Defense is easier when you have friends," Naria projected. The Empire spent millennia trying to prevent anyone from becoming strong enough to challenge them. They never considered making allies strong enough to help them. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden surge of activity. The station's long-range sensors had detected something massive approaching from intergalactic space. A ship unlike anything seen before, neither Imperial nor Alliance design. "First contact," Olivia smiled. "Again. But this time, we face it together." The gathered representatives of the former Empire and the Alliance moved with calm purpose. The lessons of the past year had taught them all that diversity of thought and technology was strength, not weakness. Whatever this new contact might bring, they would face it as a unified galaxy, while maintaining their unique identities. In the station's quantum communications center, messages flew at FTL speeds to every allied world. Not orders for preparation for war, but invitations to join in peaceful first contact. Ships of various designs began moving toward the rendezvous point, each bringing their own unique capabilities and perspectives. "Look at them all," Patel observed, watching the tactical display as vessels of every known species converged. A year ago, they would have been shooting at each other. "The Empire thought strength came from control," Olivia replied. "We showed them it comes from connection." As the mysterious vessel drew closer, Olivia reflected on the journey that had brought them here. It had started with a single human ship surprising an overconfident empire. That surprise had grown into a revolution not through force of arms, but through the power of shared innovation and mutual respect. The galaxy had changed forever. The age of empires and isolation was over. Whatever came next would be faced by a civilization that had learned to celebrate its differences while finding strength in unity. As the unknown ship approached, Olivia felt only excitement for the possibilities ahead. "Open a channel," she instructed. "Let's introduce ourselves properly." She paused, then added with a smile, "All of ourselves." The combined greeting went out in dozens of languages, carried by technologies developed by multiple species working together. As they awaited a response, Olivia knew that whatever happened next, they would face it the same way they had overcome the Empire, not through dominance, but through the unstoppable power of cooperation and shared discovery. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter on this new age of galactic civilization. An age born from the moment a single human ship had dared to show an ancient empire that there was always another way.